I stared through the thin veil of the hotel curtain, watching rain slide down the glass in erratic streaks. The city below flickered with nightlife, but none of it touched me. In this small, silent room on the 9th floor, I finally felt invisible. Safe maybe, or at least forgotten. My name is Maya Reynolds. And tonight was the first time in 3 years I did something without asking for permission. I'd left Daniel just 12 hours earlier. No dramatic confrontation, no screaming or shattered glass. Just a quiet breakfast where he didn't look up from his phone once. When I said I'm going out, he nodded absently and muttered, "Take your card." That was all I needed. That moment of apathy to finally walk away. Of course, I hadn't planned anything. I didn't pack a bag or call a friend. Simply walk. And when my feet hurt and the cold started to bite, I ducked into the first hotel that looked decent and warm. The front desk clerk barely glanced at me when I gave a card I hadn't checked in months. I knew I was rolling a dice, but in that moment I didn't care. Now it was almost midnight. My phone buzzed with missed calls, all from Sophie, my best friend and conscience in equal parts. I finally answered. Maya.Isis. Where the hell are you? Her voice cracked through the receiver, both worried and furious. I'm safe, I whispered, curling my knees to my chest. Just not ready to talk. She can't vanish like that. Daniel called me. He's freaking out, I snorted. Probably just wants to know if I took the silverware. He doesn't care, Sophie. Not really. There was a pause. Then her voice softened. Okay, get it. But do you have enough money? What hotel are you even in? Hesitated. I'll figure it out, promise. Just let me have tonight. After she hung up, guilt crept in like fog through a cracked window. I wasn't just hiding from Daniel. I was hiding from the truth. Had no plan, no money in my account. And unless miracles existed, that card I'd used earlier would bounce the moment they tried to charge it. As if summoned by fate, the hotel room phone rang. This is the front desk, said a polite voice. Unfortunately, we're unable to authorize the card you provided. Do you have an alternate form of payment? I blinked at the receiver. Panic flared in my chest like a struck match. No, I said too quickly. I'll figure something out. The voice was neutral. If we don't receive payment or collateral, I'm afraid we'll have to escalate this to management. Wait, breathe. Could I speak to the manager? Just have him come up, please. There was a pause. I'll let him know. I hung up and stood slowly, staring at myself in the mirror above the desk. My reflection looked like a woman I didn't recognize. Disheveled hair, eyes too wide, desperation clinging to every line of her face. I'd always thought I was stronger than this. But strength doesn't pay hotel bills. A knock came at the door. 5 minutes later, 2 gentle taps, measured, in control. I smoothed the wrinkles from my shirt and opened the door. The man standing there was not what I expected. No stern older manager or impatient authority figure. He was younger, mid-30s maybe, with sleeves rolled up and a clipboard tucked under one arm. His tie was slightly askew and his eyes, a cool shade of green, held a cautious kindness. Miss Reynolds? He asked. I'm Ethan Clark. I manage the property. I was told there was a payment issue. I nodded, stepping aside. Please, come in. He entered without hesitation but didn't sit. His posture was professional, but his eyes scanned the room carefully, not suspiciously, just observantly. I want to be honest, I said, voice trembling. I used a card I knew probably wouldn't work. I just needed one night. Somewhere that felt different. Somewhere quiet. He didn't interrupt, but his expression shifted slightly. Curiosity replacing judgment. I'm not asking for anything, I added quickly. I just, if there's a way to work something out. He raised a hand. Let's talk. I'm not here to make things worse. There was something in his tone, calm understanding, that made me believe him. As he sat in the chair across from the bed, I realized I'd just opened a door. But not just to a hotel manager. To something far more dangerous. Ethan's eyes moved slowly around the room as if taking mental inventory. Of me, of the space, of whatever situation he thought he'd walked into. He didn't speak right away. Instead, he set the clipboard down on the desk, then folded his hands in front of him, elbows on his knees. "You said you knew the card wouldn't work," he said quietly. "That's not something I hear every day." I crossed my arms over my chest, more from instinct than modesty. The robe I'd thrown on hung loose, and I could feel the room's cool air curling around my skin. "I didn't plan it," I admitted. "I didn't plan any of this. I just left." "Left what?" "My husband." The words sat between us, raw and exposed. Ethan leaned back, lips pressed into a thoughtful line. "That's a big move." I gave a humorless laugh. It felt smaller than staying. Silence settled again, heavy and strange. He wasn't pushing me to explain. If anything, he looked tired. It's the kind of tired that lives behind the eyes and doesn't come from lack of sleep. "Look," I began, moving closer. "I know I'm putting you in an awkward position, and I'm not trying to take advantage of anyone, but I don't have the money. Not tonight." He nodded slowly. "Normally, this would be a situation where I call security or ask for collateral. But you don't strike me as someone trying to scam a hotel." "I'm not," I said quickly, stepping closer. "I swear I'm not. I just didn't know where else to go." I noticed the way his gaze flicked, quickly dot to the line of my collarbone, then back to my face. It wasn't lecherous, more like conflicted. He cleared his throat and stood. "Can give you some time, maybe until the morning. But we can't just ignore." A part of me knew I should thank him. Let him leave, figure it out later. But that part was small and shrinking fast. The bigger part, the one driven by fear, adrenaline, and something darker, stepped forward. "What if there was another way?" he asked, soft and slow, his brow furrowed. "What do you mean?" I moved closer. Now only a few feet between us. "You said I didn't seem like a scammer." "That I seemed honest, dim, digest. I don't have anything to offer except myself." His jaw tightened. "You don't have to do that." "I know." I reached out and let my fingers gently brush the back of his hand. "But maybe I want to." His body didn't move, but his eyes met mine, and I saw the flicker there. That dangerous, delicate moment where logic and desire wrestle quietly behind someone's gaze. "I'm not some predator," he said finally. "I never said you were," I whispered, stepping closer until our bodies were almost touching. "But you're here, and maybe for just one night. We can both feel a little less alone." The next moments unraveled. Like silk. No words, just breath. And silence stitched between heartbeats. It wasn't passionate. It's not in the way movies paint such encounters. It was slow, cautious, tangled in tension and hesitation. Like neither of us knew if we'd regret it more if we started, or if we didn't. After we lay there without touching, the sheets were twisted between us. Ethan sat up first, quietly pulling, his shirt over his head, its movements efficient, emotionless. I stayed still, watching him. I wanted to say something, anything, but nothing would come. He stood at the foot of the bed, clipboard in hand again. "I'll make sure you're not charged," said, voice carefully neutral. "Ethan," he didn't look at me. "It's fine. I've done worse things. You can check out anytime tomorrow." Then he walked out, closing the door behind him with a click that sounded more like a goodbye than any words ever could. I stared at the ceiling, heart hammering beneath the blanket. The room was quiet again, but it didn't feel peaceful anymore. Felt hollow. And I wasn't sure who I was more disappointed in, him or myself. Morning light seeped in through the thin curtains, casting pale streaks across the unmade bed. I lay still, staring at the ceiling. The weight of the night pressing down harder than the sheets ever could. Ethan was gone. No note, no knock, not even a call. The silence was louder now, filled with questions I didn't want to answer. I rose slowly, wrapping the robe tighter around me as if it could hide what I'd done. My reflection in the bathroom mirror was unforgiving. Smeared mascara, swollen eyes. A stranger looking back. I splashed cold water on my face, hoping to wash off more than just regret. By the time I dressed and opened the door, the hallway was already humming with the sounds of housekeeping and rolling carts. Life continued as if nothing had happened behind the closed door of room 903. At the front desk, the receptionist offered me a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Miss Reynolds, Mr. Clark handled the charges. You're all set to check out." I nodded, managing a thank you. But inside something twisted. He'd paid my debt with silence, with distance, with dignity. I didn't know whether to feel relieved or ashamed. Probably both. Outside, the city was already alive. People rushing to jobs, lives, places to be. I had nowhere to go. No plan, just a purse, a phone, and a pocket full of guilt. I called Sophie as I walked toward the curb. "You sound like hell," she said without judgment. "I feel worse." "Where are you? I don't even know." There was a pause. Then she said, "Daniel called again. Says he's been trying to reach you. It is different. Calmer." I frowned. "That's new. You should probably talk to him. End it properly. If that's what you want." I hung up without responding. When I finally opened my messages, I saw 3 missed calls and 1 voicemail from Daniel. Against my better judgment. "I played it, Maya. I know where you are. I hired someone after you didn't come home. I'm not angry. I just want this to be done quietly. No mess. I've transferred some funds to your account. Consider it severance." My fingers trembled as I switched to my banking app. A lump formed in my throat when I saw it. $50,000, just like that. No questions. No arguments. Guilt bloomed so fast it nearly made me nauseous. 2 men, one night one used me to hold on to control. The other let himself be used to escape loneliness. And in the middle of it all, me, I caught a cab to an apartment Sophie helped me find months ago. A backup plan I never had the courage to pursue. Now I had no excuse. Inside it was empty except for dust and quiet. I dropped my bag on the floor and sat against the wall, staring at the ceiling fan as it spun lazily above. My phone buzzed again. This time a text from Ethan. "You don't owe me anything. Just don't make a habit of turning pain into currency. You deserve better." I read it twice, then a third time. It wasn't a goodbye. Wasn't an apology. Just truth. A soft, painful truth. Wasn't ready to face until now. The sun had fully risen by the time I unpacked the small bag I'd fled with. Inside was a photo from 3 years ago. Daniel and me on our wedding day. I stared at our smiles, both so fake now in hindsight. I folded it in half and placed it face down in the trash. Then I opened the window and sat on the floor with a cigarette I didn't even remember packing. One. Drag burned down to the filter. I exhaled slowly, letting it all go. Money could pay for a room, could buy silence. Could erase debt, but it couldn't erase me, or what I'd done to myself. I didn't pay for the room that night. But I'd been paying, ever since, with pieces of who I thought I was. And the worst part? I still wasn't sure if it had been worth it.